All right, Steeler fans, welcome back. It is time for the second half of the Wednesday podcast right here on the Let's Ride podcast. It is time for the Mailbag Segment where I put out the question on Tuesday. You respond to the question. I answer it live on the show. We had a lot of questions. We'll get through these quickly. Let's start with Jeff Coons. He says, greetings from Not Mad Canada. For my birthday on Friday night, happy birthday, by the way, I'm watching preseason Steelers football. Name one new Steeler your eyes are drawn to first once the game starts. For me, it's Peyton Wilson. Cameron Johnson is also an acceptable answer. All right, so I am very interested in Cameron Johnston. For me, though, I want to watch the offensive line. I said this on my Steelers grilling thoughts for those that check those out on Twitter and on YouTube Shorts. I just want to see, I want to see Troy Fautano out there. I want to see Zach Frazier get some time. I want to see Mason McCormick. Let's see what these guys could do. This is what you see in the preseason. Everyone's like, oh, do I want to see a third and fourth stringer? If they're your draft picks, you should. If they are your draft picks, you absolutely should. If they're being deemed as the future of your offensive line, you should. So in that regard, that's who I'm looking for. And outside of that, I want to see Justin Fields. I know what Russell Wilson can do. I want to see Justin Fields in a game situation where players aren't, and I'm not going to go all the way and try and hit this guy, even if we're in pads. I want to see in a game situation what he can do. Just my own thoughts. All right. Let's go with Mark Bergen of the Believe in Steelers podcast. He said, what should Steelers fans look for during Friday's preseason game that correlates to the regular season? I want to see, in terms of that correlates to the regular season, I want to see what the Steelers' offensive philosophy is. And I don't think so. I don't think they're going to have everything at the ready in preseason week 1. They're just now starting to do different gap assignment running schemes. It's not all outside zone. I think we'll see some play action. I think we will see outside zone. I think we're going to hopefully start seeing some pooling of the guards and even the center, depending on who's at center. I just want to see what Arthur Smith is doing. How does he maximize matchups? In training camp, we've seen Patrick Queen covering George Pickens, and that was by design. I want to see some of that stuff. I think that can correlate into the regular season. No, I'm not falling for preseason success like I did last year. I would just say that I would like to see which direction they might be headed. All right, Brandon Diaz asked several questions. Part 1. He said, per the Source podcast, what's the next step for the Steelers after no longer pursuing Brandon Ayuk in terms of wide receiver? I said this on one of the podcasts today. There's going to be a lot of receivers out there that are going to get cut by teams that might be upgrades for the Steelers. And so they might pick up a player. I'll give you a name. Keep your eye on Sky Moore. Sky Moore was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. He has not panned out there. He does have ties with Mike Tomlin and his son. He's a Pittsburgh kid. And I could see the Steelers, if he gets cut by Kansas City, them taking a flyer on the guy. It's not going to hurt him, but he might be a high upside guy. I know that our own Shannon White was very high on him when he came out of the draft. I can't remember where he went to school. I don't think it was Pitt. But anyways, keep an eye on players like that. Maybe not him specifically, but there's going to be players that get cut because they just don't fit there anymore. And they might have new draft picks. So we'll see. Updates on Cam's contract is the second question. And there is no update. I think they will get something done. It's just not anytime soon right now. The third, why does everyone have sources? Do they just claim they do or just use other like insiders as their source? That's a tough one. I can't speak to how other people do this. And I'm not going to shed light on how we developed our source, but source connections can happen in weird ways. So, like I said, these source reports or rumors, whatever you want to call them, there can be some truth to these things, regardless of what people want to hear. Let's go to the second part of Brandon's questions. As you said in the Source podcast, in Omar we trust. Why do some fans think it's the end of the world? We're out of the BA, Brandon Ayuk, stop running as of right now. Well, I think they just see it as a way to upgrade. And I think that they're looking at Omar Khan as aggressive. And I understand that there's a lot of people, and there might have been a few situations where he would be deemed as being aggressive. That's not the adjective I use to describe Omar Khan. It's patient. He's patient. The only time I've seen him be aggressive is if he wants to move up in the draft. He did that in his first draft, going to get Broderick Jones. He was not aggressive in 2024's draft. He was very patient. He was patient with the Bears in their trade with the Justin Fields. The guy is more patient, in my opinion, than aggressive. But some people want that right now. They want that move. And if they don't think he's going to do it, then they're going to start waffling a little bit. Last one from Brandon. Will the Steelers extend a player this year that we're not expecting? I think if there's a player that they could extend, it would be Pat Freiermuth. But I would probably agree that most people would suggest that they wouldn't be like, oh, that's stunner. Like, I can't believe they just extended Pat Freiermuth. But that's who I would go with. All right, let's go to Corey Eckenroth. He said, how much more Brandon Ayuk drama can you handle? I got to be honest, the way the last few days have gone, I really don't want to handle much more. I just want it to be over with. And I think you know that, Corey, just so we're clear. Let's go to Heath Davis. El Jefe, back like I never left. With our second half of the schedule looking like it was specifically designed to stall our momentum, keep us out of the playoffs. Do you believe the Steelers can make the playoffs in 2024? I do. I absolutely do. The Steelers historically under Mike Tomlin play better when their backs are against the wall. And so, hey, you want to this gauntlet that they've thrown at the Steelers, they've known about it. I'm sure they've talked about it. I'm sure they're preparing for it. I think they'll be up for it. Let's go to Heath's next question. Question 2, can we get some DEFCON? He wrote DEFCON. DEFCON updates prior to the first preseason game. I did update the DEFCON levels last week. I will do that after the preseason games so that we can kind of see how things are trending. And then finally from Heath, outside of our division, if you could pick one team on the schedule for us to beat, who and why? For me, it's the Chiefs because of, as Slick Rick once said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Much love, El Jefe. Looking forward to the season. Hashtag Ride or Die Crew. Thank you very much, Heath. Outside of the division, you know who I'm picking? The Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles. It's in Philadelphia. I want to end that stupid streak. I want them to win in Philadelphia for the first time since like 1950. So please end it. Beat the Eagles. Win the Keystone State Championship. That's what I'm going. Let's go to Afton Forward. Next question. Going to camp this week. Anyone specific I should be looking for? I would say, well, first, are you seeing a padded practice or a non-padded practice? That's important. If you listen to my Monday morning conversation with Coach KT Smith, he did not get to see a padded practice. Therefore, he wasn't able to glean a lot from the offensive line, defensive line, and in the trenches. So if you're seeing a padded practice, I would want you to key in on Zach Frazier. How's that second round pick doing? Is he close to starting, or is this a pipe dream for Steeler fans thinking this guy's a week 1 starter? So watch that guy. If they're not padded, I would say keep your eyes on the wide receivers. See if there's someone that they're using more than the others. How are they using them? A lot of times, people are high on Calvin Austin III. Are they moving George Pickens to the slot more? That's what I would say. That's what I would be looking for. All right, let's go to King Tibs. Hey, Jeff, I've been curious about this for a while now, so I'd like your opinion on this matter. Why do a lot of players wear full sweatsuits during practice? Doesn't that make them a lot hotter? It doesn't make sense to me. LOL. I think a lot of players, especially linemen, for some of them, it might be like a fashion thing, like George Pickens wearing the ski mask in the middle of August. Or at the beginning of August. I don't get that, but hey, he does it. That's fine. He's comfortable, whatever. For me, I think that some of the linemen might be doing it to just they want to sweat. And I don't think they might be trying to cut weight, but think about, just wanting to get in good shape, be game ready. Maybe if they want to show they're tough. Mike Tomlin, hell, until this year, would always wear black. Just saying, hey, I'm wearing pants. I'm wearing all black. I'm suffering through this heat like you guys are. Who knows what these guys are thinking? But good question. Let's go to bagels and bong ribs. What variables are the same, better, worse for Justin Fields going from the Bears to the Steelers? So what variables are the same? I would say that right now that the offensive line is probably about the same, maybe in the better category. Okay. The better category is I think he has better coaching and a better offensive scheme. So I think that he's going to learn a system that is more conducive to success for him. In terms of worse, I got to think that when it comes to pass catchers, he probably had better pass catchers in Chicago. I know DJ Moore was there last year. Maybe not before that. That's tough. Definitely Yeah, that's a tough one because I don't think there's too many situations that he finds himself in now that are worse in Pittsburgh than they were in Chicago. Like it's a better organization, it's more stability of the coaches from coaching staff. I think he has it's a better all-around environment. So that's just my honest opinion. Let's go to Jason Murphy. He said Najee struggles with outside zone run plays. Last year, the offense had quote unquote blinking red light syndrome where the personnel told the defense exactly what to expect. Well, defense is key outside zone when Warren is in and stack the middle to stop power when Harris is in. Well, if Harris can prove that he can run outside zone, we know that Jalen Warren can run up the middle in gap scheme, and we know he can run the stretch zone scheme. If Harris can prove that he can run the outside zone plays, then they can't have the blinking red light syndrome. They're going to have to say, we have to play these guys straight up. We cannot say, look, Najee's in, he can't run outside zone, plug the middle, he's not going anywhere. You can't do that. So either they like their gap scheme enough that they think they can manhandle whoever's in front of them, or they have running backs and offensive schemes that are more conducive to either one, not being predictable with Jalen Warren and Najee Harrison. Let's go to West Coast and Olympic sport you would do if you could. Easy. Golf. It would be golf. What a freaking golf tournament that was last weekend. But this isn't my golf podcast. If you want to hear more about that, go check out Fairways, the and symbol Dreams, Fairways and Dreams. That's my golf podcast 2 days a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. Check it out. Let's go to Eric Miller. Hey, Jeff, I'm unfortunately out of market for Steelers games. My question is, what do I need to be able to do to watch every game this year, including the preseason? I can't find the answer online. I'm hoping I won't have to take a loan out just to afford all the streaming services. All right, so you're out of market. The only way to guarantee that you're going to see every Steelers game, and unfortunately, even this doesn't guarantee it, is to get Sunday ticket. That's expensive. That's YouTube TV. So you got to get YouTube TV, and then you have to pay the additional fee for Sunday ticket. That's what I do. I'm out of market as well. But that doesn't guarantee you like Thursday Night Football because you have to have Amazon Prime. That doesn't guarantee you the Christmas Day game with Kansas City. That's on Netflix. So you have to understand that even with Sunday ticket, that's the case. Now, the good news is the preseason, every Steelers game should be on the NFL Network. There's a caveat. If the Steelers on the NFL Network and there's a game behind them, they will leave the Steelers game regardless of where the game is. So just know that that's going to happen. So if the Steelers game starts at 7 and they are going to a West Coast game at 9, they will leave the Steelers game at 9 o'clock, whether the game is over or not. So if you're watching, like, okay, here we go. I'm ready to watch the preseason. Let's see it. Here we go. What happened to the game? That's what's going to happen. So if you want to avoid that, you can get NFL Plus. You can either pay for a 1 month and then cancel it. I've done that before. Or you can try and follow along other sources. So that's just to let you know. That's what you'd have to do to make sure you're guaranteed to watch. There's going to be people out there that say, hey, there's these websites you can go to. I'm more about like, I just want to guarantee myself to watch the game. All right, let's go to Jay Allen. List these Steelers receiving duos from worst to best. Stallworth and Swan, Burris and Ward, Brown and Bryant, and Pickens and Ayuk. Well, I got to be honest, Jay. I'm not even doing Pickens and Ayuk because as of me recording this, Brandon Ayuk is not a Steeler. Therefore, he's not a Steeler receiving duo. I will substitute Ayuk for Deontay Johnson, though, in the past. So from worst to best, I will say that the worst of those, if I'm putting Deontay Johnson in there, is Pickens and Johnson. From there, moving up one. So now it's not the worst. It's the next worst. Let's go with Burris and Ward. Nothing against Plexico, but he really blossomed after he left the Steelers, in my opinion. Hines Ward should be in the Hall of Fame. Your daily reminder. Okay, so now it's what second out of 4. I'm going to go with Brown and Bryant. Antonio Brown, in my opinion, was the greatest receiver to ever put on a Steelers uniform during those years when he was Antonio Brown, not AB the way that we know him now. He was Antonio Brown. Martavis Bryant is the one that's kind of bringing him down a bit. Number 1, Lynn Swan, John Stallworth, 4 Super Bowls, MVPs. These guys were big game players. They're number 1. So there you go. Very good. Let's go to Steeler Fan 69. He always likes to add some humor. He said, hey, Jeff, I know you love to cook out a lot. I found this great place online to order sausage. I'll send you a link. He said, for the record, this is a second joke, by the way. For the record, I bought a turntable. Nice. Third joke. What did the nose tell the finger? Stop picking on me. And then lastly, he asked, did you get last week's joke on Dolly Parton? She had a hit song, Jolene. Yes, I got that. Even my kids got that. We like country music. We like the classic stuff. Yeah, we got it. I always share those with my kids. They always find them funny. So that does it for me, folks. I really appreciate everyone for sticking around. I love the fact that we've created this culture at the Steel Curtain Network where y'all can rely on us for the latest news and notes. So make sure you're checking out steelcurtainnetwork.com early and often. We have a lot of great stuff there for you. Again, steelcurtainnetwork.com. Check it out. In the meantime, make sure you check us out on all of our platforms, podcasts, YouTube, you name it, Steel Curtain Network. I will be back on Friday. In the meantime, we finished it out. Be safe, be kind, and God bless. Have a great week. We'll see you on Friday. Go Steelers.